We've got some new video just into the newsroom showing the moment a Seminole County Sheriff's deputy pulled over an Orlando police officer who was apparently going 80 in a 45 with the cruiser's lights and siren off. Go and take a look. This happened last Tuesday. The deputy spotted the OPD cruiser along Florida Avenue and says the officer never slowed down after passing him. When the deputy caught up with the officer, he wouldn't pull over, instead turning his lights on and off. Eventually, the officer stopped.
Hey YouTube, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'd like to take you all through the case and body camera footage of a recent event where an Orange County deputy was pulled over for speeding, but he refused to stop and he was eventually arrested. This is a wild case and something that is actually pretty rare, so I wanted to take the chance and review it with you all. For those who don't know me, my name is Blue, and I'm a Florida police officer with 10 years of experience. I'll try to use that experience today and lay this entire thing out, from where it all started to how it all ended, and why it ended the way it did. If you like this sort of content, consider subscribing. I post true crime and police-related videos weekly, and I also do my best to take suggestions in the comments. Now, as a disclaimer, these are just my opinions, based on my own experiences, and not the opinions of anyone else. With all that said, let's get into today's case, starting with a quick background of all those involved. Officer Alexander Shoney works for the Orlando Police Department in Central Florida. On June 6, 2023, at approximately 12:15 p.m., Seminole County Deputy Hill was driving when he observed a marked police vehicle from the Orlando Police Department speeding past him. According to the Sheriff's Office, that vehicle was traveling 85 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone. Let's go ahead and check out the video for ourselves.
Over 100 miles an hour trying to catch up with this butthead. He's the guy that, copy down that bumper.
This one or this one?
Yeah, 11070. Pull over. You gonna pull over?
Please say a command.
Pull over.
Say a device name like.
Okay, so the first thing that stands out to me is this. The Orlando PD car has no lights and sirens activated. That's very important. For some clarification, when we go to calls that require an emergency police response, we respond in several ways. For instance, a traffic crash with minor injuries would have you going, at least in my area, no more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, but still with lights and sirens. But a more serious call, like a robbery or battery in progress with an injured person, lets us go as fast as we can safely do so, taking into account factors like the roadways, traffic, and weather, again, also with lights and sirens. But in this instance, we see that his car has no emergency lights activated at all. In some cases, officers are dispatched to a crime in progress call. Now in those cases, police can respond more quickly, but without the use of their sirens, to better sneak up on the suspect. As we'll soon see, none of those excuses come into play. Now when you see the police vehicle pass, he doesn't appear to be going all that fast, at least not to me. Definitely more than 45, but not so crazy. However, that could be a trick of the camera, because his speed becomes apparent when you see just how much distance he puts between our POV officer and himself in a few seconds. And in the deputy's own words himself, he states that he had to go in excess of 100 miles per hour just to catch up to the officer. And what do we see? The Orlando PD officer does not stop, but just flashes his own lights, even going around another likely very confused driver. Only when the deputy pulls up alongside him does he stop. But you're probably thinking he must have a good reason for his driving, right? Why else would he be driving like this? Let's get it straight from the horse's mouth and take a look at his excuse.
3113 to 313.
What?
Do you,
I am going into work, my man.
Why are you trying to pull me over as I'm going?
Because you're going 80 and a 45.
I am going into work.
Okay, what are you going
What
to
does
work
it look
for?
like I am dressed for?
I have
What
no...
does it look like I am dressed for?
My name is Deputy Hilton, and they see your driver's license.
No.
Okay. 3113, copy at 1050. 10-4, I got a city, Orlando PD taking off from a traffic stop. It's going to be X-Ray Foxtrot 6207, XF 6207. You refuse to stop.
www.syncmyride.
Wow. This officer's actions and lack of accountability are just stunning, to say the least. We just mentioned a few possible reasons Officer Shawnee could have been driving like this. But "I'm on my way into work" was not one of them. The most ridiculous thing here is that the officer actually has the gall to get mad for being pulled over. Now, from my experience, I can promise you this was simply a prideful pissing match sort of reaction. But you're probably asking yourself, wouldn't a regular, non-law enforcement person get in trouble for something like this? You're absolutely right, they would have. So, let's talk criminal charges, which would be brought against Shawnee very quickly. So he refuses to identify himself when he finally does stop, by refusing to provide his information or ID card. That's the crime of obstruction, which is a misdemeanor. But the more serious charge here is when Shawnee gets back into his car and flees from the traffic stop. Now, some were wondering why Shawnee was allowed back into his car to leave without any resistance, when an average person probably wouldn't be. In this case, which is very unique, it's because you're dealing with another uniformed law enforcement officer in a marked unit. You know you can identify them, and the deputy even gets a tag number and calls it in. The arrest will be made, make no mistake about it, and the officer will be very easy to track down and identify. But most likely, it was that the deputy saw he had an armed, resistant suspect and did not want to risk escalating the situation without backup. No matter what the reason, there would be an arrest made. On June 9th, 2023, Shawnee was arrested on the following charges: fleeing and eluding, resisting arrest, and reckless driving. Now, I'll spare you the suspense. These charges would eventually be dismissed as part of a plea deal with the prosecutor's office. If you're a fan of my channel and have seen my past videos, you won't be surprised. 99% of the time, the prosecutors decide to accept a plea deal instead of going to trial and trying to get a conviction, even on a slam dunk case like this. And don't make the mistake of thinking that Shawnee was treated differently and given a lighter sentence because of his job, although I can understand why you'd think that. In the vast majority of cases with crimes like this, and I'm speaking from my own personal experience with arrests that I've made, they rarely, if ever, get to trial. In some cases, they're dropped entirely with no explanation given. This is just a reoccurring issue with our justice system, something that has gotten worse over the last 10 years especially. In Shawnee's case, he was given a plea deal of some kind. The details are a little hard to come by, at least consistently, as different sources have slightly varying information. But from what I gathered, he will have a period of 12 months probation or monitoring, have to reimburse the courts a measly $50 a month, and reimburse the Seminole County Sheriff's Office the estimated cost of the investigation, which is about several $100s. Shawnee's attorney, using the fact that Shawnee did not have a previous criminal record, was also able to enroll him in a pretrial diversion program, which if completed, almost guarantees the charges get dropped down to a very minor punishment. And again, I cannot stress this enough, this is outrageously common. If you went to a morning courtroom calendar and just sat there for 2 hours, you would see case after case after case get dropped down to nothing, despite very serious charges. Shawnee and his lawyer just took advantage of the system that everyone else also abuses, resulting in this very disappointing outcome. Normally, however, that won't save your job. Incredibly enough, it appears that Shawnee is actually still employed at the Orlando Police Department, at least according to this article by Channel 9. And his investigation apparently is still in internal affairs. I hear you guys already, and just know I share in your outrage. He is an embarrassing disgrace to police everywhere, and should not be on the job if this is how he treats both his authority and the authority of another officer. But that's all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to give you my quick perspective on the case, because when I saw this, I was truly disgusted. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I enjoy reading your thoughts, and if you have any suggestions on other cases you'd like me to cover, comment those as well. I always do my best to take your suggestions. If you guys like this kind of content, consider subscribing, as I post at least weekly here. And as always guys, stay safe and stay tuned.